are continuing on our road trip throughout Albania and making our way east. The eastern side of Albania is bordered with Greece and North Macedonia, which is the direction that we're headed towards today as we begin to see Lake Ohrid in the distance. Our goal today is to reach Lyn, a small village on the waterfront of Lake Ohrid, but first we must drive through the bigger city of Pogradec to get there. Pogradec is the 11th most populated city in Albania and the closest big city to the small village of Lyn. Just like any other big city in Albania, it was full of repair shops, barber shops, grocery stores, and everything you would find in a major city. We also noticed it was a very walkable city. People were out everywhere. They were meeting up for coffee, lunch, picking up kids from school, and running errands. The atmosphere of Pogradec was overall very active. We drove through the city's main street slowly, just so we could enjoy some of the scenes from the everyday life in Pogradec. Upon leaving the city center, we finally arrive at one of the first beaches along Lake Ohrid. The lake is actually shared by Albania and North Macedonia. Albania makes the most of their coastline with a handful of beautiful beach clubs like this one right on the lakefront. We stop for a quick coffee and enjoy the peaceful scenery. We arrived early in the day, so the beach was still empty, but we're sure this is a popular place to spend an entire day by the lake. If we didn't know any better, we could mistake this beautiful beach for one by the sea instead of at a lake. We walk out onto the dock and contemplate going for a swim. Emmy has made up her mind on her dad's behalf and insists that he goes in. The water is pristine and just as clear as the Adriatic Sea where we spent the past 2 weeks. The quick dip was nice and refreshing, but it's time to get back on with our original mission. We get back on the road and finish the last leg of driving to reach the village of Lyn. Lyn is located on its own peninsula, which is mostly made up of farmland and pastures. We have finally arrived in the village of Lyn and go on a walk to start exploring the village. But first things first, Emmy manages to find the local market so she can buy herself an ice cream cone. The village houses are located close to one another, but between nearly each house there is a narrow path which leads directly to the lake. We visited Lyn at the end of summer, which means the weather was still nice and a handful of other tourists were also in town. Because of the expected visitors, local vendors set up their own products for sale throughout the streets. Naturally, Emmy initiated conversations with many locals, just like this nice woman selling pickled goodies from her home. We had some extra Albanian lek on hand, so we bought a jar of pickles to take home. Lyn's biggest attraction are the underwater ruins of a human settlement found just off its coast. Research suggests that it belongs to an ancient village from over 8,000 years ago. More specifically, they are the ruins of a stilt village, which means that the settlement was built over the water. The site in Lyn is the oldest of its kind in all of Europe. We also happened to visit during onion season, and there were onions absolutely everywhere throughout the village. Today, the village is quiet, charming, and definitely one of Albania's best kept secrets. We depart Lyn with a beautiful panoramic view of the village, the peninsula, and Lake Ohrid. Next up is North Macedonia, and the border from Lynn is only 10 minutes away. Most borders in Europe outside of the Union are divided into two checkpoints, first the country of departure, and then the country of arrival. The checkpoint for the country that you are driving into always has a longer line. At least we get to witness some beautiful landmarks while we wait. Borders are also split into multiple lanes, but usually half of them are never operational. We have successfully crossed the border into North Macedonia and are excited to start the next part of our journey.